Across the desolate landscape of abandoned buildings, shadows dance restlessly, whispering stories of lives once lived within their walls. Among these crumbling structures, few evoke as much intrigue, dread, and curiosity as abandoned mental asylums. You might be asking yourself, what dark mysteries lie within? What stories linger in the air of these forgotten spaces? Buckle up, because in the next few moments, we'll embark on a journey into realms where fear meets fascination, exploring harrowing ghost stories from abandoned mental asylums that seldom see the light of day. Imagine stepping through decaying doors, your pulse quickening as echoes of the past reverberate in your ears. What if I told you each of these forsaken halls holds a piece of history, a fragment of anguish, and perhaps a spirit or two who refuse to depart? Today, we'll unearth the chilling tales that continue to haunt these dilapidated institutions, where the thin veil between the living and the dead seems all but transparent. By the end of this journey, you will not only learn about the profound histories of these asylums, but will also ponder the question, what remains of the souls that once walked these corridors? Let's delve into the haunted remains of the Willowbrook State School, a facility in New York that was once a haven for the mentally ill but became notorious for its mistreatment of patients. Established in the early 1900s, Willowbrook housed thousands of individuals, many severely neglected. Reports of tragic experiments, including the use of untested medications and the lack of basic human care, led to a culture of despair. In the twilight of its operation, residents claimed to hear eerie whispers and see fleeting shadows, figures that resembled patients lost to time. Now, as the wind whistles through its broken windows, countless ghost stories arise. Could it be the cries of those who once suffered there, calling for justice from beyond the grave? But wait, here's something you didn't expect. The asylum's shadowy legends aren't just product of the imagination, they're steeped in real events. In the 1970s, just before its closure, investigative journalism unveiled the horrid conditions inside. Pictures showed residents in filthy, overcrowded rooms, yet the most chilling discovery came from a hidden journal detailing surreal experiences. Staff members noted strange occurrences, lights flickering, sudden temperature drops, and the palpable feeling of being watched. Could the unethical treatment and anguish have led to the violent energy that haunts these halls today? You might wonder, how many souls are left behind in such places? Every room, every isolation cell, often harbors a history of silent battles against stigma, despair, and relentless struggle. Beyond the walls of Willowbrook, countless asylums echo similar tragedies, providing a breeding ground for local folklore to thrive. For instance, how about the legend of the Rolling Hills Asylum in East Bethany, New York? Once a home for the insane, there were chilling tales of patients being experimented on, labeled as unfit, and left to languish in the dark. Does this legacy contribute to the ethereal entities spotted within its labyrinthine corridors? Staff and visitors alike recount stories of strange shadows darting about, disembodied voices softly calling out names, and even the sounds of a phantom piano playing in the dead of night. Moving from one harrowing tale to another, let's travel west to the infamous Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in West Virginia. This place stood as the largest mental health facility in the United States, operating for over 150 years. Initially built in the 1850s, it struggled for decades to fulfill the needs of its growing patient population, which quickly reached crisis levels, leading to overcrowding and dire conditions. Staff reported eerie occurrences, an unsettling energy that would wash over the wards, peculiar noises echoing down the halls, and unexplainable cold spots that seemed to emerge without warning. But that's not all. There are also numerous reports of full apparitions, some resembling former patients, warning of tragic fates. What happened here, and how does it echo in the present day? As we speak of Trans-Allegheny, another dark chapter unfolds, the tale of a young woman named Elizabeth who spent years confined in one of the asylum's most notorious isolation rooms. Elizabeth's delicate mental state caused her to be labeled as unmanageable. After extensive treatments that consisted of cruelty rather than care, she disappeared, never to be found. Visitors to the site later reported strange sensations while near the room she occupied. Many claim they hear the sound of a girl's soft weeping, an echo of sorrow that transcends time and leaves one pondering, was Elizabeth's spirit lost in the void of neglect? But there's more. Let's take a closer look at the rampant psychological horror that transpired at these asylums, which contributes significantly to the pervasive ghostly tales we hear today. Think of the tortured souls whose minds were never understood, their cries for help silenced by a society quick to judge rather than heal. The residual energy from such anguish can indeed bind spirits to the earthly realm. When mental illness was synonymous with shame, individuals were often discarded, forgotten, and left to perish in isolation. What manner of hauntings could arise from such suffering? As we unravel these stories, we awaken the awareness that we must respect those who once suffered. Now, you might be curious about the impact of media and film on such ghost stories. Ghost hunting shows and paranormal documentaries have flooded our screens, often dramatizing the experiences at these asylums. When heightened by modern storytelling, these places take on an aura of mystical intrigue. You might say it's the campfire folklore of our time, where facts and storytelling intertwine. However, while this adds excitement to the legends, it's essential to remember the human tragedies buried beneath. The tales are rooted in profound sorrow, and this impacts how we perceive ghosts, not merely as specters, but as echoes of unfinished stories. But let's pivot back to the lingering essence of these abandoned spaces. Consider the fear and awe of exploring a mental asylum. Every echo and creak can ignite your imagination. Some thrill seekers venture forth, led by daring curiosity to unravel the past, perhaps hoping to have a brush with the supernatural. Instances abound of ghost hunters who have latched onto an unseen presence, their investigations highlighting artifacts of the past like old patient files, rusted beds, and forgotten medical equipment, each serving as artifacts of a brutal time. But do they truly capture the spirits wandering the halls? One particularly spine-chilling location is the Asylum of the Insane, also known as the Mansfield Reformatory, in Ohio. This site was once a correctional facility rather than a mental asylum per se, but due to overcrowding of the nearby mental hospital, it became a temporary refuge for individuals with severe psychological issues. The local lore built around this building is nothing short of terrifying. Countless reports describe the lingering presence of inmates who never found peace, men who lived and died behind bars, and whose souls still seem to roam the disheveled hallways. Visitors often recount their experiences. Some claim they felt an overwhelming sense of being followed or watched. You might be surprised to learn that many claim to have seen shadowy figures glide across the dilapidated floors, while others hear deep, mournful sighs in rooms that once echoed with laughter, or have heard unheard conversations whispered just out of reach. Here's something else to ponder. Can our collective fears and traumas manifest in the energy of a location, creating a crucible for spirits? Could the spirits of those imprisoned still wander the grounds, longing for freedom? As we continue our exploration, let's shift our focus to the stories surrounding the Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Kentucky, a haunting site with a notorious past. Originally built as a tuberculosis hospital in the 1920s, many lives were lost within its walls during the height of the TB epidemic. Patients were often treated in unconventional and sometimes lethal ways. It's said that some, upon feeling the grip of grueling illness, opted for cruel experimentation rather than face the burden of suffering. This history of despair has led to whispers of hauntings that can send chills down your spine, cries of individuals who experience the tragedy of being trapped while hoping for healing, and the sighting of spectral figures drifting hopelessly through the hallways. Now, imagine standing at the threshold of Waverly Hills, a place that saw death become second nature. You might wonder, is it merely our imagination that senses unsettling energies, or do these spirits linger as a testament to their forgotten struggles? Paranormal investigators routinely report flickering lights, inexplicable sounds, and the sensation of being touched, or following sounds of footsteps behind them, only to turn around and find nothing. The souls seek acknowledgement in their own ways, crying out, as it echoes off the hollow walls. Could this relentless yearning lead to unexplained occurrences? As we start to piece these stories together, the narrative of suffering begins to weave itself into a tapestry of experience, from Willowbrook to Trans-Allegheny, from Mansfield to Waverly. Each story stirs curiosity, reveals hidden truths, and allows us to connect with our own humanity as we reflect on the stories laid to rest. The spectral echoes of the past continue to enforce this idea that every life holds value, every story deserves remembrance, and perhaps every ghost yearns for acknowledgement. And as we venture further into these haunted havens, with tales yet to unravel, we'll delve deeper into what lies beneath, a lingering slate of untold stories that beckon us to listen, to explore, and to recognize the human experience within the shroud of the supernatural. Yet, for now, we'll pause here. Prepare yourself, as we will even touch upon the most spine-chilling encounters, the profound secrets hidden in patient records, and the question of what may happen when you dare to invite these spirits to speak. Stay tuned for the second part of our exploration, where we'll look deeper into personal encounters and the intersection of history, horror, and healing. The haunting continues, and the best is yet to come. As we delve deeper into the spectral narratives that arch across these haunting institutions, prepare yourself for a more personal touch, stories not just gleaned from history books or dusty records, but from the mouths of adventurers, ghost hunters, and the inquisitive souls who have dared to cross the threshold into these realms of the forgotten. These encounters often transcend mere sighting of apparitions or odd noises. They dive into the emotional fabric woven through time, illuminating the shared humanity that persists amidst the ethereal. One chilling encounter comes from a group of paranormal investigators who decided to spend a night at the notorious Waverly Hills Sanatorium. They set up cameras and engaged in a series of EVP, electronic voice phenomena, sessions designed to capture any unexplained sounds. As the night unfolded, an atmosphere weighed heavy with desperation, the air thick with the cries of those who once sought refuge here from their terminal ailments. At one point, while reviewing footage captured earlier that evening, investigators noted a soft voice, almost a whisper, cutting through the air. "Help me. I'm still here." It was a chilling reminder of the patients who felt abandoned in their suffering. What haunted many of these visitors was not just the sight of an apparition, but feeling an overwhelming wave of grief that settled over them like a lead blanket, as if the weight of sorrow itself had taken solid form. Powerfully evocative is the testimony of a visitor to the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, whose connection to this site feels deeply personal. This individual shared that their great-grandmother had spent years confined within those very walls. Upon stepping inside, the visitor felt an inexplicable pull. As they wandered among the long-abandoned rooms, they caught glimpses of fragmented memories, peeling paint and rusty beds, evoking a sense of loss so profound it threatened to envelop them. Standing in her great-grandmother's former cell, they closed their eyes and felt the essence of pain that lingered in the air. To their astonishment, a cold gust, a presence, brushed against their cheek, and for a fleeting moment, they felt a surge of recognition, almost as if a connection was made across the divide of time. In their heart, a whisper seemed to echo back, "I wasn't forgotten." Such experiences open a dialogue about the emotional ties we have to these haunted places, how the past intertwines with our present selves in ways that elude rational explanation. The shared traumas, familial histories, and societal stigmas all coalesce to create a haunting tapestry. Perhaps those who venture into these asylums seek not just thrills, but closure for stories long in shadow, the remnants of a time when mental illness bore a burden of shame. In doing so, do we not become conduits, listeners of the untold stories that yearn to be told? Many investigators and thrill seekers journey to these sites, equipped with gadgets designed to uncover the paranormal. True, machines like EMF meters and infrared cameras can detect peculiar electromagnetic fields and temperature shifts, but the most profound stories often arise unexpectedly. During a night at the Rolling Hills Asylum, one group caught a small white orb floating down the hallway on tape, a telltale sign in paranormal lore. As they instinctively turned to follow it, they recorded curious, disembodied laughter ringing in the distance. Was this the spirit of a child? A remnant of joy lost amidst the confines of despair? What began as a quest for haunted thrills became a heartfelt investigation of hope lost and memories clung to, revealing the duality of these spaces as both prisons and resting places. Let's focus on another poignant aspect of these ghostly legends: the significant role of art and culture in revitalizing the conversations around mental health and the histories of institutions like these. From films to literature, tales of haunted asylums allow a modern reflection on treatment, stigmas, and the evolution of understanding toward mental illness. These stories can ignite discussion not merely over ghosts but about what it means to heal, to remember, and to embrace humanity's frail condition. A local filmmaker, eager to shine a light on the dark past of an asylum, chronicled his experience while using storytelling to illustrate the real pain suffered by those left behind. His documentary unveiled the harsh realities behind the glamorized hauntings, the twisted fates of many who faced addiction or mental illness, leaving viewers with equal parts fright and compassion. As haunting as the stories are, they serve to advocate for those who often had no voice in their darkest hours. In navigating through the narratives of these haunted places, one cannot escape the related themes of healing and acknowledgement. The Middlesex County Asylum, another noteworthy landmark, became infamous not just for its tortured past but as a site where authors, artists, and musicians gather to celebrate expression. Each year, a festival is held on the grounds, bringing together creatives who use the backdrop of despair as inspiration, a cathartic release mirroring the experiences of those who once walked these grounds. By transforming pain into artistry, these festivals honor those haunted souls as they strive for healing, acting as a bridge between past and present. This nuanced perspective shifts our understanding of the spirits of mental asylums. Instead of perceiving them solely as troubled apparitions craving recognition, we see them as reflections of both struggle and resilience. It is as if the amplified energy of these spaces beckons for action, pressuring us to engage with the uncomfortable truth that they embody. As many narratives reveal, perhaps these spirits linger seeking not just attention but acknowledgement and respect for their stories. But dwellings of despair are not alone in their tales. Outside the historic walls, nature itself claims its presence. Crumbling bricks entwined with vines and trees provide faithful witnesses to what transpired. The land washes with echoes of human experience. The pruned emotions that once echoed through an institution now find a semblance of peace in the reclamation of nature. Many say that when the wind blows through the trees surrounding former asylums, it carries the whispers of lost souls. Are these whispers merely figments of our imagination, or do these once confining walls soften under the gentle touch of time, allowing spirits to dance amidst the foliage, unfettered from the bonds of sorrow? As our exploration leads us to the heart of these stories, we come to a crossroads, a reflection on what it means to coexist with the past while striving toward a more compassionate understanding of mental health. In acknowledging the ghostly narratives that arise from these asylums, we unearth wisdom, we find strength in vulnerability, and acknowledge our shared humanity. Here, we illuminate the importance of mental health, leading to a rightful destigmatization, nurturing an environment where all voices can emerge from the shadows, where we can perhaps learn from the anguish of the past to build a brighter future. As we begin to conclude our haunting journey, it is evident the ghosts that linger are not merely relics of trauma but ambassadors of truth. These asylums become more than mere sites of dread. They are rich grounds for dialogue, healing, and understanding. Just as the patient files remain preserved in dusty archives, so too do these stories patch together a powerful narrative that honors the lives once trapped in silence. The question emerges: how can we ensure that those who entered these institutions, who faced unimaginable trials and tribulations, are not forgotten? Perhaps, through the very act of listening, acknowledging and embracing the haunting tales, they can reclaim their lost voices, transforming from our fearsome phantoms into powerful reminders of resilience, advocacy, and evolution. As we take our leave from these ghostly asylums, we do so with our minds sharpened and hearts awakened. We move forward enriched by the echoes of those who walked before us, spirits both gentle and fierce, whose whispers implore us to remember, to listen, and ultimately, to heal. Ultimately, the haunted corridors beckon us to confront our fears, reshape our understanding of mental illness, and honor the memory of those once hidden within the shadows. Thank you for joining this exploration into the depths of human experience, fear, and the relentless quest for remembrance. May the spirits that linger, from Willowbrook to Waverly, from Trans-Allegheny to the otherwise forgotten realms, find solace in the stories we weave and the compassion we foster in their name.